keep it on the front page of our community. This is something we have to address. These are very important parts of the community. They're equal to the look of Main Street, or more importantly, your health, safety, and welfare. That's what we get elected to protect, your health, safety, and welfare. And the police department and the fire department, those are their jobs. There's a reason why we're considered one of the safest towns, not just in Connecticut, but some parts of the country. As well as, I personally feel, and I'm sure the Chief Duckworth would support, that we have one of the highest levels of service of any EMS department in the state of Connecticut. Our paramedics are some of the best trained, above and beyond. We're allowed to administer medicines that we do because of that expert training and expert leadership. Those two groups, from a safety perspective, need to have decent, and I'm not saying, you know, gorgeous working conditions. There were things out there that said every officer was gonna have their own bathroom, or crazy stuff just started happening that really misrepresented the facts. However, going forward, what we would like to do to accommodate the needs of both the PD and the FD, recognizing their importance in our community, is to form a committee. And that committee would be made up of possibly anyone in the community, but obviously, if you, as you may well think, having with certain areas of expertise would be critical. Do we need someone who has commercial building experience? I would hope so. And we will be interviewing them if the board agrees, and that was the purpose of the meeting, to say, do you agree with us taking this direction? If so, I'll start working on that. There's not gonna be a vote today. There's not gonna be a vote to build anything. There's not gonna be a vote to do anything at all. This meeting is to get a consensus from the board to say to Rudy Marconi, first select person, go ahead and start lining up people who may be interested. What we will do, and I'll yield to the board members on this, is probably set up several full days where, depending on the number of people that respond, set up a couple of days of interviews. And we've done this once before, where we'll start at 10 o'clock in the morning and go to 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, allocating about 30 minutes to an hour, whatever it turns out to be, whatever we want. But those specific questions have yet to be answered, and we'll deal with that as long as we're in consensus that we need to move forward and establish a citizens committee. So I wanted to start off the meeting by letting everyone know this wasn't meant to be a secret meeting. We had to publish everything. I spoke to the office on Monday about it because last week I met with several very important people in our community, people who understand building, understand the needs of the community, and want to be involved. I believe they came to me very sincerely immediately after the referendum. One gentleman was Mr. Steve Zemo. The other was Mr. Carl Letcher, both of whom have extensive building experience, not just in this town, but in other parts of our area, both residential and commercial, as you well know. I respect their opinions, and Steve was actually very emphatic that the Board of Select persons call an immediate meeting this week, a special meeting. And the purpose of that special meeting is to, I'm glad you're all here. This is incredible. This is there are more people here today than we had in any of our multitude of public information meetings, right, Chief? Correct. So we're very happy you're here, and we want you to stay involved. I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, it's not streaming, so the people at home can't see what's going on.
That's what we're trying to do. I said we were having technical
getting a lot of
difficulties.
messages,
If you
that's
know
all.
how to do it, be my guest. I don't.
Maybe if it would, okay, never mind.
It's not, we can't get it going.
No, I
I'm
know,
I'm on the town's website, it's blank.
yeah, I can't get it to go. I don't know.
Where's Andrew?
He didn't know what to do either.
There's a camera in the back. Is that hooked up?
It's this thing that streams to the website. I know there's internet issues in the area, so I don't know if that's
Yeah, there
something to
is
do with it.
Xfinity, there are
My
internet
house
issues
is
in the
not
area,
that right now,
definitely.
so that might be
Xfinity
it.
was down or something,
Xfinity
yes.
was down.
Yeah, so
problem.
that, I feel like that might be it.
Oh, blame Xfinity.
I'm-
I don't have a clue. But
But it's recording, so we can put it up after.
So we are recording, and it'll be uploaded to the website immediately following.
Can I just, and I don't know what the board, I mean, this.
Introduce yourself to the people so they know.
Maureen Kozlik, I'm on board select people. And this wasn't meant to be a public hearing, and we are certainly going to have, and it's up to the board, I guess, you know, feedback and that type of thing. But I don't want people to feel that we're not here to listen to what your comments are, what you feedback you have. You know, that is something that's very important to all of us. But this was a working session for us to figure out what next steps were and then start scheduling, giving everybody time to get it on their calendars and giving them the proper notice of when the public hearings are gonna be, and invite them into larger rooms so that we can have the feedback that we know you all wanna share with us. And I just feel that another thing that we heard was that, oh, they're having this meeting, we're not gonna even be able to make a comment. That is completely not true. We are gonna listen to all your comments. I don't know if we're gonna do it today, but that, yeah.
No, I just wanna say, that, some of you, we've also heard that we were having it in the morning so that nobody would come. Look at you all. I'm telling Rudy we should reschedule all of our meetings, for 11 o'clock. It would be great.
On Saturday mornings.
Right, on the morning when town hall is closed. I'm delighted to see so many people here. I truly am, and, I am hopeful. Steve, well, I know what Carl Letcher said, and I know what Steve said, and they had some wonderful comments, and many of you have also made wonderful comments in the community. And some of you have misrepresented, whether knowingly or not, various factors that we hopefully will clear up in coming weeks and months. Yeah, I mean, there's no question that I think all of us wanna form a committee, a citizens committee. And that we're interested in participants who, have levels of expertise in areas that we very much need, like construction, electric, ventilation, all of those things that are important to any commercial or residential building, and certainly to a police department and fire department. And also, I mean, you know, we formed a citizens committee when we started with Schlumberger, and that was wonderful. But the purpose of that was to decide as a town what we wanted to do with the property, but how we wanted to use it. Did we want it for open space? Did we want it for schools? Did we want it for sports? What did we want it for? That's something that everybody in the community has an interest in and a right to comment on. When it comes to a fire department and a police department, the people who need to be most involved are the people with the expertise, the firemen and the policemen who know what they need, and people who know how to design the facilities these people need. It isn't like we didn't want other people. It's that we had a working committee for a number of years of people who had expertise. Now, maybe we picked the wrong site, and that's something we will all talk about. And maybe we need 2 facilities instead of 1, and we will talk about that too as a community and get your input. But in terms of the buildings themselves, is there anyone here outside of the police and the fire who think they know everything that a fire department needs or a police department needs? I certainly can't raise my hand to say I do. And so we want your input. We want your input on those kinds of things. Where should we put it? How many facilities should we have? Should we have 2 or 10 or whatever? But please understand that the technical aspects of these buildings have to be done and have to be determined by people who have expertise in these areas. And that's just something that, I mean, we should all understand, because none of us would go out and build a house without any plans.
John?
All right, so first I would say, I think, you know, as Barbara had noted, you know, there was a team of citizens, hopefully elected people, and people who, I guess, were sitting over there, I don't know if they're not standing, you know, including Jake Miller, you know, the fire chief, police chief, who really got together and tried to understand what the needs are for those departments today and in the future. And we challenged that. Things changed. There were 20-something plus different designs. We put forward what we thought was the best thing for the community today and in the future. And the community spoke, and I always feel like I may have strong opinions on things, but the most important thing is what's the community gonna be willing to accept. You didn't accept what we put forward? That's great, so we need to figure out a new plan. And so I think, you know, the idea of a citizens committee is important. Looking at, I think we, you know, I sort of feel like we're at square one here, because we have to be very open to, is there one building? Are there 2 buildings? Are they in different places? I got an email last night from someone saying, no, don't build a building. That's gotta be a consideration. I feel like I heard in all the different meetings, and what I saw online, is a lot of people saying, no, we know we need to do something. We don't necessarily like what you put up. That's fair. So I think we just need to be very open to, you know, what all the different possibilities are and how that goes through. I am concerned about some of the different expectations. I think, Chuck, you were quoted in the paper saying, well, we can figure this out in 6 months and go back to a vote. And yet other people say, well, you know, you didn't take this far enough. So I guess we have to be very clear about what this committee can do, what their charge is, because we were able to get as far as we did with, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars of work with an architectural firm who created schematics, and then we're able to come back and say, okay, here's how it all fits in. I'm not sure what the committee will be able to do without engaging an architecture firm to, you know, to come back and say this or that. So maybe, you know, to Barbara's point, there's, you know, philosophical, like, this is a spot, we like this spot, we think this is a terrible spot. It's things like that. So I think we, you know, A, it's very important to hear from people. B, be very open to lots of different possibilities. But I also hope that the committee kind of manages expectations that I don't think a committee could or would be able to come back and say, here's what we have, these are the plans, this is it, you know, we're ready to vote. Because I don't think we would be anywhere near ready to vote coming out of those recommendations.
In 6 months.
In 6 months, because, you know, what we would have to do is then say, all right, well, let's go, you know, if there are things that, and maybe we all agree and say, like, whatever is recommended, that's fantastic. We would have to go back and have to look at, you know, the plans and schematics, and then come back and say, here's what the costs are, you know, to build, you know, based on a square footage basis, you know, all of that. I guess the other thing I would say to that end is just being careful about kind of pulling out random numbers. Like I heard in some of the conversations, someone said, oh, well, each department gets so much square footage. We've got to hear from the departments. We've got to hear kind of what their needs are. And again, balance that with what the community can handle. But I just hope that whatever this committee input is reflective of the needs of the community and the needs of the departments. Because again, we have a long history in this community. If you look at Richfield, we've been around for a very, very long time, and will be around for a long time. And so when you think about what we're doing, and this is maybe kind of, you know, what upset me with, you know, the vote going down the most is that building was probably more than what we needed today, but it may not have been more than what we needed in 20 years or 30 years or 50 years or 100 years. So I just hope that as people think about that, they think about what is the future, you know, where, you know, that old watch commercial, you know, we don't own that watch, you mind it for the next generation. I hope people think about that in the same way for this community, because that's certainly the way I think about it.
Thank you, Sean. So I know there was a tremendous amount of work that went into the last 6 years of getting it to where you voted